17, I was sitting at my desk with not too much belief in myself. I was kind of a regular 17-year-old kid. And I was writing my college admission essay. And I tried really hard to do a good job because I really wanted to get into Columbia and impress my parents. And I got a call from my admissions officer. And she said, Evan, would you mind if we workshop your essay around the country as an example of an ideal admission essay? So I was like, sure, yeah, absolutely. And I went and I celebrated and freaked out. It was really awesome. Well, fast forward 4 years, I did get into Columbia. 4 years later, I got out of college and I decided I was going to start a company helping kids get into schools by advising them on how to write a college admission essay. I would help them brainstorm and all that good stuff. I would help them edit when they were finished with it. The problem was I had no money at all. And I also had no clients to start me off and give me experience. So I was basically a guy with a computer. Well, what I ended up doing was spending the next year studying Google and trying to figure out how to get my site to show up at the top of Google when you type college admission essay in. So after a year, I typed in college admission essay into Google for like the 10,000th time. I just did it every single day like a zombie. And one day, it showed up at #1. Wait, whoa, I can't even believe this is happening. I mean, it was one of the most exciting moments of my life. And from there, I knew that my company was going to grow because it was finally going to get exposure. And it did. The company grew quite a bit. And as it grew, I realized that since I had this magical gift of being able to get to the top of Google, I could then start any business I ever dreamed of because I could always get exposure. So I did. I started a lot of companies. Three that I want to talk about tonight are, well, I told you about college admission essay a little. I told you, and I'm going to tell you about Penn Group and the New York Condo blog, and I promise this is all going towards women empowerment. Clicker, please. So, college admission essay. The way that I got it to the top of Google was by publishing lots of articles that were interesting to people. I created a college guide, which was the first college guide written by students that was public on the internet. What did I do? I went on Craigslist, and I found a college student that went to every single college in the entire country.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. And I had them write something about their school. And pretty soon, I just created a page for each school, and I had the largest college guide. Now, granted, nobody had looked at it, but I called it the largest college guide on the internet, and Google started to give it a lot of attention because it was original content. And that's basically how that got to the top. I'm sorry?
What year was that?
This was 2005. 2005, yeah. Is that a sophisticated Google user? Do you work at Google? 2000. Okay. Oh, okay. We'll talk after. One of my students, his dad was one of those guys that's just like, really needs to tell people how wealthy he is. It's very important for him to share that information. So he wanted me to write a book for him about how cool he was, his autobiography. Now, I was very flattered. I was like, this is great, I'm going to get a chance to write a book. And so I ended up writing a book for him. And I was able to charge him, I think, like $8,000. It's the most money I've ever seen written on a check in my entire life. And that is what started the Penn Group. And I eventually ended up hiring best-selling authors who were bestsellers from about 10 years ago, so they weren't as in demand. And they would do all the writing and not me. But the way that this site got to the top of Google, which is what got me all of the customers, and we had tons of celebrities and CEOs that we ghostwrote for, is by writing articles. I would write articles exposing the ghostwriting industry. Did you know that most celebrities don't write their own books? Maybe you did. Did you know that some huge percentage, I forget what it is, I don't want to misquote, don't actually write their own books, just of authors in general. And so we provided that. But getting to the top of Google was all about providing that interesting content, and then people would link back. I did the same thing with the New York Condo blog. The New York Condo blog was, it was just a listing of the 200 brand new condominiums in New York City. Now, there was no way to find out any information. If you were about to drop $1 million or $5 million on a condominium, you had no way of knowing anything about it other than looking at the actual website for the condo, which was filled with marketing language. There's nothing real. So, college students, once again, we sent them out undercover, and we got real information on the walkthroughs. And we also had them walk around the neighborhood. Was there like some sort of illicit den nearby or something that people should know about? Was there something really good that wasn't being put out there? We told the truth. The company that ended up making the biggest difference to me in my life was the one that came next. And I stumbled upon it totally randomly through AOL's hot searches one day. Again, this was late 2005 still that we're in. And apparently 500,000 people a month search for dress-up games. So I said, okay, I guess I'm going to start a dress-up games company. Now, for those who don't know, dress-up games are like an online paper doll. It's really about your identity. And it's made for girls who are about 8 to 12 years old. And during that age, girls are going through a bit of an identity crisis, as are boys, trying to figure out who they are. And these little dolls, they drag outfits on them, and they can be different, sort of dressed as different careers or different fantasy characters. And that's what the site was about. And I didn't know if it was going to work, but it did. So the site went on to get 8 million unique visitors every month. It became a singular phenomenon. We got onto the front cover of the business page of the New York Times, and we interviewed on ABC News and Fox News, and it was pretty incredible. This is my Google Analytics screenshot. I'll move out of the way here for anyone that uses Google Analytics, showing that we got 70 million unique visitors. It was a crazy time in my life, I have to say. I wasn't able to think straight most of the time. But there was one thing that stood out about Cartoon Doll Emporium, and it absolutely was not the traffic and the attention I got for it. It was the chat forum. On this chat forum, which was one of the most active places where tween girls would share what's going on in their lives, we found out some really disturbing stuff. There were so many kids that were being abused, physically abused, mentally abused. And it's a little blurry here, but these are just some examples. And these innocent kids would be talking about what's going on at home. You know, my stepfather is hitting me, being sexually abused. And one of the most important things that I did during that time was contact local and government agencies and step in when there was a dire need to do so. And of course, just for the kids that were going through lesser problems, just babysit them. Sometimes their parents weren't around. And something in me changed from this site. The most random thing in the world, something in me changed. I had a rare opportunity to influence young people, specifically girls, and it got me thinking about which values really mattered to me. Now, what I figured out in that time was that if you feel a really healthy sense of self, if you believe in yourself, if you know how you feel, you're in a much better plane than you could be. Not everybody knows themselves well enough to feel this way. Oh, we're still in that one.
I know you think you're awful square, but you made everyone you've been everywhere. Lord, I think you'll overdose if you knew what's going down.